you doing, Coach? I just want to have a question. I know we spoke earlier, earlier about a few things. I just want to know, do your athletes do any strength training? No, we don't do any strength training. We play. All we do is baseball, baseball, baseball. We pitch and we hit. We pitch and we hit and we pitch and we hit. Sometimes we catch too, but other than that, we pitch and we hit and we pitch and we hit. We make sure that we focus on that technique. But don't you think strength training would be very beneficial for when you pitching and hitting and sometimes catching? Oh no, I think my kids are too young. Again, we're only 10, not 10, 11 years old. So, strength training is that's for those ages. They're too young for that right now. I'm gonna wait till they get a little older. So you mean to tell me that your kid can benefit from calisthenics, basic bodyweight exercises, and strengthening the shoulder, the AC joint, and improving their hips so they can throw better and hit better? That's a really good point. No, again, that's just dangerous. All that stuff is just dangerous. They ain't ready for that. Right now, we just need to work on more technique, make sure they hitting the ball right and stuff like that. And I got to make sure our pictures make sure their technique form is right because they probably end up their form might end up changing. So they get stronger. That sounds like almost what a basketball coach would say to a basketball player about a pitcher throwing, but for a shooter shooting. Strength is going to affect their shot. It will, but it's going to affect it in a good way, I believe, if you do it right. I'm just saying. Now, when I talk to parents about strength training for their kids, when I'm talking about youth strength training, I get the absolute absurd looks ever. And then they also give me so many excuses talking about, oh, well, my kid does such and such in their sport and they're doing this over and over and over. And now I understand and I get that. But what they fail to realize is that that sport they playing over and over and over is developing its own motor patterns. Now, it strengthens their muscles in a certain sequence over and over and over. Now, over time, what that does is it can create a muscle imbalance in their body because you're not doing anything different, but you're just doing the same forces. Now, if you don't help make sure you create a more balanced synergy in the body, such as between the quad and the hamstring, you're going to have issues. Now, a kid should not have overuse injuries by the time they get 12 and 13 years old, but it's happening, especially basketball and baseball players. Now, the issue with that is because kids now are starting to play their sport all year long. All year long. And it shouldn't be that way. Now, when you play your basketball and baseball all year long, what you're doing is putting that body through the same repetitive forces. And if there's not strength training, the body is not prepared to handle all of those forces the same way, and then the body end up breaking down. So you want your kid to play year-round sports, but you're not doing any strength training so your kid can have a strong foundation to work with. Now, if the kid don't have a strong foundation, do you think they can really develop their athleticism when they don't have a good foundation to build off of? I mean, really, you think you can build a house on a good foundation? I mean, if you can, you can show me. You know what I'm saying? Let me see you try to build a house on some mud. I bet you over time that damn thing's gonna go slide away or float away or crumble. You have to make sure that your kid has a good foundation to work with. So when I mean by youth strength training, I'm not talking about loading the kid up with some heavy ass squats and bench presses and stuff like that. But that's what parents think I'm talking about. And it's really not. Youth strength training should be calisthenics. Now, with calisthenics, basically what that is body weight strengthening exercises. Now, with these calisthenics, what it can do is it can help strengthen other motor patterns and strengthen the muscles with its own body weight. Now, doing calisthenics helps the kid be stronger moving in space. Now, when parents are thinking of these strength training, they get scared because they think that if they lift weights, they're going to get hurt. I'm going to be honest. That's really false. A kid is more likely to get hurt in their own sport playing than doing a careful and supervised strength training program. Now, when somebody's lifting weights or squatting, that's its strength. So your body is resisting a force, or it's not resist, or it's transferring force. So when I squat, you're doing an eccentric movement. So that means when you go down, it's eccentric, and then when you go up, you're gonna pause for a second, which causes the atomization phase, and then you're going to explode, which is your concentric phase. Now, I mean, you're able to squat since you learned to walk. So how is squatting a bad thing? First of all, how is squatting with 10 pounds in a kid's head is going to be more dangerous than a kid playing basketball where they're running and jumping and they jumping around an unstable environment, such as environment that's not predictable because you have other kids in the way. So you don't know if a kid's foot's gonna be in the way, boom, sprain ankle, or they go and jump, they get bumped, boom, they land on the foot wrong, and then sprain ankle or busted knee. Jumping, which is jump training and plyometrics, is actually more dangerous than strength training. That's the point of strength training. So the point of strength training is to help the body to be able to absorb those forces from jumping. Now, you'll see kids at the playground, they're playing around, they're jumping off like 5 feet off the playground and landing. Now, if you think that strength training is not beneficial, you sadly mistaken, because if that kid is jumping from 5 feet from in the air, I hope your kid really is strong. Otherwise, something bad is going to happen to your kid's legs. What you need to do for your kid is develop not a very hardcore program, but you know what I'm saying, like 30 minutes a day of strength training is very beneficial for your kid. I mean, you can just incorporate lunges, lateral lunges, body weight squats, push ups, wall sits. This can get you, hell, you can get 2 cans of corn, tape them together, have them do shoulder presses, do external, internal rotation, and medial and lateral rotation. The shoulder, they help strengthen the shoulder muscles if your kid is a baseball player, so you won't end up throwing that shoulder out. And you can do Bulgarian split squats, which is a one leg squat. I mean, all those exercises will help build your kids' foundation as they get older. The more forces they put into the ground because they're bigger and stronger overall because their maturity and their body, the least likely they're going to get hurt. Well, I shouldn't say that. I said the chances of getting hurt will be reduced because the body can absorb and transition the forces that's put into the ground and what the ground is putting against the body and what they're putting against their body against other people and the forces they put into the ball like such as football or baseball. When I talk to parents about strength training, this is what they look thinking about. Now, I wouldn't dare to even put my own 9-year-old daughter to do stupid shit like that. All right. For my own daughter, she's 9 years old. She might be little, but she can do a lot of things that high schoolers can't even do now. And that is very, very sad. The reason why is because a lot of those kids, again, are just playing a sport, but they're not training. So when you ask them to do simple, basic training movements or simple jump training movements or simple running techniques, they cannot do it. Their body is going all over the freaking place. We need to make sure that we put strength training back into our kids' lives. Um, I know that PE is being taken out of most schools in America. We focus on more on STEM subjects, and I feel like that's really hurting our kids because at the end of the day, PE also helps with scores because then it helps release a lot of energy the kids have in the classes jumping off the goddamn wall. Since the kids are in PE now, you know what I'm saying? They're doing a lot more games. They're not doing really calisthenic stuff where they can get stronger and stuff. Which that's what PE is: physical education. You're learning education of physicalness. You know, so that's the point of it. But we got away from it, and I feel due to that, I feel like our athletes are getting really hurt by that. Um, because we're so eager to push our kid in a direction to be so great when technically a kid at 8 years old, to be honest, you don't know if that kid still wants to play professional football. You know what I'm saying? When they get into later in high school, you don't know that, or professional baseball, or golf, or etc. You don't really know that. That's more of a drive that the kid has to have on their own. And I feel that us as parents pushing our kids to keep playing sports, to get better, you know what I'm saying? Because you want them to be great. I feel like it's counterintuitive. We got to have that balance because at the end of the day, the reason why we play sports growing up is because it was fun. If it ain't fun for the kid, then it's pointless, and then you're going to get that kid hurt, especially if they ain't strength training. Um, so I was like, us as parents need to make sure we find that balance again between strength training and playing in sports, and letting it have fun, letting it be fun, because that's really sports is how it's supposed to be played. It's supposed to be played to have fun. I want my kid to make sure they're the strongest they can be, so when they do play the sport, they won't get hurt because success is not a sprint. Success is all about longevity, and if your kid don't have longevity, you won't have much success, and you won't have success for long. Now, I'm gonna show you some exercises that you can do with your kid to help improve their strength. That's my 2 cents.